Alright, y'all, this is a very interesting video. Let's get into it. It's another JxmyHighroller video. It's called I Never Thought I Would See This Day.
Question: what does the iPhone, Facebook, the OKC Thunder, Kevin Durant's NBA career, and #1 NBA prospect AJ Dybantsa have in common? It's quite the odd group of miscellaneous things, only related in one specific way. And based on the title and thumbnail of this video, you've probably figured it out by now. None of these things existed when LeBron's record-breaking 10-point streak began. It's a streak that's been going on for nearly 20 years. One of those things you legitimately thought you'd never see come to an end. But on Thursday night, it finally did. A streak that began before many NBA fans were even born has finally came to a conclusion. And the final number is so ridiculous, it is a record that will never, ever be broken.
There's always an eyelash in my eye.
Today's video is sponsored by You Search for and how. After 19 seasons, 7,273 days, and 12.
But isn't it just crazy how LeBron 10 consecutive points plus for over 20 years is actually insane? Because it's just bro, we might have to put him in a conversation of one of the greatest scorers of all time, because LeBron is definitely, when people look at LeBron, they think of him as one of the greatest players of all time, playmaking, all this other stuff. And everyone knows that LeBron's a great scorer, right? Everybody knows that. But when you think of the greatest scorers, you think of people like Kevin Durant, Kobe, you know what I'm saying, Carmelo Anthony. You think of those type of scorers like James Harden, those type of ISO, you know what I'm saying, get to the bucket type shit, you know what I'm saying? But LeBron, bro, 10 plus points consecutive for over 20 years? Come on, bro. Come on. He has to be at least top 3, top 5. Cause damn, I know he has the most points of all time, but a lot of people still don't have LeBron as they don't still look at LeBron as one of the greatest scorers, you know what I'm saying? But damn, 10 plus, that streak is actually, LeBron, I ain't gonna lie, bro, his NBA career is like a Disney movie. This shit crazy.
And 97 games.
This nigga is actually the GOAT. It's not even, you can't, there's no point even arguing no more. I feel like this is something you have to know. You have to know.
The ever end came to an end. For the first time since January 5th, 2007, LeBron James scored less than 10 points in a regular season game on Thursday night. And in the most poetic way imaginable, with the game and a near 2-decade-long streak on the line and the opportunity to keep his streak alive, LeBron James passed out of the last shot to find the open man in the corner for the game winner. The most likely conclusion to a streak that was unlikely to ever end. When asked about the bittersweet reality of his streak coming to an end, LeBron's response was short and to the point.
What feelings did you have, if any, what about it?
None. We won.
That's the thing. I don't even think he give a fuck. I don't think that he was always playing to let me make sure I get 10 plus points to make this streak. I feel bro, not even no glaze shit. Actually, it's glazed, but it's not glazed. But who just bro, nigga, you know what I'm saying? I'm LeBron James. The fuck? Bro, what the fuck? That shit don't matter. That shit don't matter. He doesn't need no damn streak, bro. He's just trying to win. He's just that good. That's just he just naturally just scores 10 plus points. You know what I'm saying? Even though that sounds like a glaze of hell, it's facts. Sorry, there's just some niggas can't glaze, bro.
The conclusion to this
That's LeBron James.
1,297 game long saga. I would like to take the time to dive into just how remarkable and how unbreakable LeBron's 10-point scoring streak really is. Just how long is 1,297 games? Well, with the recent news of the Clippers cutting Chris Paul from their roster, LeBron's 10-point scoring streak is officially longer than the careers of every single player in the NBA, outside of course, LeBron himself. The most career games played among active players not including LeBron is held by Russell Westbrook, a player so old that he was a part of the OKC Thunder's inaugural season in the NBA with 1,260 career games. How unbreakable is LeBron's record? Well, even if the longest tenured player in the entire league outside of LeBron scored at least 10 points in every single game of his career, it still wouldn't be enough to break LeBron's record. Now, the player with the second longest 10-point streak in NBA history is none other than Michael Jordan, who began his streak all the way back in 1986, retired, returned to the NBA, continued his streak, retired again, came back again, and finally fell short of 10 points in 2001 at the ripe age of 38 and was still 431 games shy of LeBron's record. To put into perspective how much longer MJ would have had to play to break LeBron's streak, if he continued his streak dating back to 1986 through 2001, scored at least 10 points in every single game of the following season, and the next season, and the season after that.
See, nigga kept fucking retiring, bro.
The season after that, and the season after that, he would finally surpass LeBron's record by 2007. In fact, JJ Redick, the head coach of the Lakers, will be the first to tell you how incredible LeBron's record is. Because on the exact day LeBron last scored single-digit points, JJ Redick suited up in just the 8th game of his NBA career, which means Redick began his career in the NBA, played 15 seasons in the league, retired from basketball, ran a successful podcast for 3 years, and became the man's head coach, all while LeBron maintained his streak. But with LeBron's streak now over, we can begin to look ahead and see if there's anyone who even has a chance to grab this record.
That shit ain't no one beating that shit. No one's beating that shit
in the league today. Durant, Shea, Luka, Giannis. I'm sure there's someone who has a decent streak going right now. 267. The next closest active streak is Kevin Durant with 267.
The thing about Kevin Durant is the thing about LeBron's record is like because LeBron, that nigga's like basically Iron Man. That nigga don't really get hurt for real, you know? So he was playing so many games, was really getting hurt for real. Then he has longevity, you know? KD, you know, he's kind of injury prone. You know, there'll be times, there was literally a season that he sat out like fully. I don't think there was one time LeBron fully sat out a season before. Like that shit crazy, bro. And like 10 plus points every single game, like, yo, that shit will never be broken again, especially the way load management is now, bro. Like, you know how many times, I wouldn't say how many times because, you know, Wemby haven't been in the league for long, but like, Wemby should have had the defensive player of the year, but like, you know, the NBA made the rule, the 65 game count of like, you have to play that many games to like get a reward or something, and Wemby just got hurt this season, so he probably might get robbed of a defensive player of the year again, you know? So injuries really be fucking shit up.
Games. Do y'all remember this shot? The toe on the line?
Oh my gosh, do not, bro. Hold up. Yo, it's whoa. This shot right here?
In 67 games. Do y'all remember this shot? The toe on the line?
This shot right here literally gives me nightmares. I remember I was downstairs in the family watching this shit with my brother and sister, and I see this shot. Everybody's going crazy. Whole time, this man's big ass foot that God created was on the line. Do you know how? Oh my gosh, we literally would have won this series. This is how you know how good this big three was. Kyrie was out. James Harden was playing with damn near one leg. KD literally dropped damn near a 50-point triple-double. Had a damn near a game-winning shot on the line, but his foot was on the line. Do you know how crazy that is? Imagine if they were all healthy. Brooklyn would at least won. They would have three-peated. I'm not joking. They were that good. Like this shot, I know this shot haunts this man every single day. I know it does. Facts.
A career-altering moment for Durant. It's been quite some time since we
know he
witnessed
was
this.
pissed. Oh my God.
This shot happened 2 months after Durant's current 10-point scoring streak began, back in 2021. And considering he's 37 years old in his 17th NBA season, I think it's safe to say he will not be breaking this record. So let's look ahead to the next player, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a perfect candidate for a record like this. Shai's current streak stands at 170 games, which means that if Shai plays every single game moving forward and scores at least 10 points in all of those games, he is on track to break LeBron's record midway through the 2039 NBA season at the age of 41.
That record's not getting broken.
You could combine the games of
even
the
if it does get broken, it's not going to be in our lifetime.
In the league today, and you still wouldn't have enough to break LeBron's record. But it is just 10 points after all. There are countless players who can score 10 without breaking a sweat. So how exactly does one player build such an insurmountable lead on every other player to ever suit up? Well, because you not only need to be skilled and consistent enough to score 10 points every single game, you have to be lucky enough to not get hurt. And you also
exactly.
need to be
I was just talking about that.
to even want to keep the streak going
Iron Man. He don't get hurt
to
for
keep up with a
obviously
record
now
like
he's
this,
older.
Essentially, a player cannot sustain an injury in the first half of any game at any point in their career. Giannis had a streak that got up to 171 games just a few nights ago, the third longest active streak in the NBA. But then he unfortunately went down with an injury just 3 minutes into their game against the Pistons, and his streak was snapped. Back in 2021, James Harden's streak was up to 450 games, until he tweaked his hamstring on this play just 5 minutes into a game against the Knicks. He would end up leaving the game, sitting out the rest of the contest, and his streak came to an end. Back in 2023,
Brooklyn
Luka
days.
Doncic had a streak of 211 games, but spun his way into an ankle sprain, left the game in the first quarter after scoring 0 points, and ended his streak. In 2017,
y'all gotta start wearing shoes
Kevin
that support y'all
Durant had
ankles.
the
Y'all ankles
misfortune
be
of being
naked.
teammates with Zaza Pachulia, who just 10 minutes into a game against the Wizards went barreling into KD's knee while he was in the midst of the 5th longest 10-point streak in the history of the league. Needless to say, when a 7-footer
Why you
makes your
pushing
leg
him
bend the
for,
wrong
bald-headed
way,
bitch?
you don't come back into the game. And your 562-game streak of 10-point games comes to an end. Most of the time, beating a record like this is a matter of luck, or rather, not having enough of it. But even if you do get lucky enough to not get injured, you still have to put 10 points on the board. Something that, as easy as it may come for some players, is nearly
My bad,
impossible
y'all.
to do
Little snack
hundreds of
break,
times
gimme.
in a row. In 2019, Damian Lillard's streak of 230 games came to an end as he failed to score 10 points in a game against the Raptors. He put up 12 shots, got to the line a
Has
couple
Dame even
times,
been playing
but
this
after
season?
3 years of not having an off night, he finally did have one. Same thing
I forgot,
happened
you
to
control
Karl
like his
Anthony
ACL or
Towns
some
in
shit.
2021. Was balling out for 172
Had a 172
straight
game
games, and then
streak?
just laid an egg
What?
in game 173. Played 31 minutes, took 11 shots, but just failed to hit double digits. Steph Curry is one of the most lethal scorers in NBA history, and yet he has scored single-digit points 3 times in the past year. So not only do you have to stay healthy, you also can't afford to have a single bad scoring night at all for a very, very long time. And even if you manage to do all of that, you will still not approach this record unless you're willing to pull a few stunts to keep it going. The number of times LeBron scored less than 10 points from January 6, 2007 to December 3rd, 2026, 0. The number of times he scored just enough to keep the streak alive in that same time span, 24. A statistical improbability? Maybe. Going out of his way to keep the streak alive? Yeah, probably. As the years went along and this streak became more absurd,
That many
the look
games
of
in
relief
that
on
time
LeBron's
span
face
of
as he
years?
crossed the 10-point threshold in close calls became more apparent. Like in 2018 in a game against the Knicks, where LeBron
It's just so crazy how like there's a amount of shit we know about LeBron being the GOAT, but at the same time, there's so much stuff we probably don't even know about his career that you actually dive deep into. That like once you actually know about it, when JxmyHighroller talks about it, something that you never knew about LeBron's career, it even amazes you more the fact that this nigga is the GOAT. Like, this shit crazy.
tweaked his ankle, but stayed in the game for another minute to score exactly
That was
10
like less than
points,
20
and then
games he
checked out of the
scored
game
10
for good 50
points to
seconds
12,
later in
10
the
to
first
12
quarter.
points.
Or what about
And
this
he
game
been-
in
that's
2021
from
against the
2007
Hawks,
to
when
now.
Solomon Hill
That's
attempts to
insane.
go for a loose ball and instead eviscerated LeBron's ankle. LeBron was rolling
No,
around on the
that
ground,
game was a downfall of the
hollering
Lakers
in
angle. Like this, I remember this. Ever since then, ever since this injury, shit been going left for the Lakers ever
agonizing
since.
pain, clearly in no shape to return to this game. And yet he did. To hit this three-pointer 7 seconds later, giving him his 10th point of the night, and then checking out of the game for good on the very next
Bro,
possession.
he probably is.
And then,
He
of
probably
course,
did do
there
that
was
shit on
the
purpose.
Lakers versus Suns game less than a week ago, where LeBron was struggling all night, but stayed in a blowout game just long enough to score exactly 10 points before immediately subbing out and not returning to the game. Just like every other impossibly long streak in sports, there is of course a few manufactured moments to keep the streak going. A small price to pay for a record that will never be touched for the rest of time.
That was a good ass video. That streak, like, always knew it was crazy. I'm like, damn, like LeBron really did that. But then when JxmyHighroller just explained it explained it like deeply, I realized damn, this nigga LeBron is actually not real. That's crazy. But anyway, so this is a good video. Like and subscribe. Catch me out in the next video.